shelter, shelter. Simple life is all we want to live. Give me food, give me clothes, give me love, and give me shelter, shelter. Yeah.
So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the We Too Are Librarians Movement platform, your distinct and dynamic platform that speaks to and for the masses. We are not in the business of manufacturing players, pimps, and hustlers. Rather, we are in the business of changing and revolutionizing the thought process of our people, not only in Liberia, but even around the world. Welcome once more to the We Too Are Librarians Movement podcast. You can say platform. Today, we are thrilled to have Dr. Doris Atamo Strempek. Would you be comfortable if I just call you Dr. Doris?
That would be fine. Yes.
Fine. Excellent. So we're excited to have with us Dr. Doris. Dr. Doris is the president of Solid Foundation Charity. She has an impressive background, holding a PhD in consular education and supervision from University of Akron. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to say too much about you because I'm going to give you an opportunity to tell us exactly who you are. But it's good to have you on the show tonight. We want to thank you for honoring our invitation. So we're going to run right into the show. How are you doing tonight?
I am doing great, and I'm excited to be here. It's such a pleasure and an honor to be able to come onto the show and be able to share with you the things that I've had in my heart that impacts our country, Liberia.
We Too Are Librarians. I like that. Thank you very much. Let's get started moving right along. First of all, I want you to tell us, who is Dr. Doris?
Dr. Doris is... I'm a woman, I'm a female, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, I'm a counselor educator, as you said, as you mentioned, I'm a professor, and I'm a person with a heart for the people.
Great to have you again, Dr. Doris. We're going to run right into the program. Thank you for that great introduction. Tell us a little bit about yourself as far as your educational background. You have 20 years of experience in the fields of mental health and clinical supervision. So could you just tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I was inspired to go into counseling because I started my career as a child life specialist, and the supervisor noticed the way I was engaging with the patients and their families, and she suggested that I continue my education to be able to work with the families and the individuals for longer periods of time. That would bring about a more significant and substantial change to the individual's life. And my sisters also saw the potential that I had to speak calmly and with healing into the lives of others. So I believe the highlight of my career at this point is to have the opportunities to work with women experiencing depressive symptoms, and that's my area of specialty. And I've conducted workshops, organized retreats, and delivered presentations at churches and various non-profit organizations on the benefits of sound mental health.
That's really fascinating. In addition to your clinical work, you have also researched topics like identity development in diverse population, chronic mental illness, and intersection of religion and spirituality. Can you also share how your research interests have shaped your work and your approach to helping people?
Oh, sure, absolutely. My major interest and focus for the clinical research is on African American women, depression and depressive symptoms. Being in the field for such a long time, I've been able to understand that sometimes we have challenges that we don't even know we have. We just see it as just sad or just, I don't feel like it, lack of energy. So as a woman, I know life has many challenges because we have to wear so many hats. Our intersectionality, my intersectionality, or the women's intersectionality of being a female, oftentimes being a wife, being a mother, and sometimes on the lower scale of the social economic status, our religious beliefs, Our abilities and our disabilities, whether visible or invisible, has shaped my approach to helping women and families. Women have been conditioned to be silent and endure during difficult times. We've lost our voice in relationships and places where we should be able to speak out, like in our employment, places of employment, and also in professional gatherings. So my interest really peaked, and my focus on women is to effectively learn how to speak up and no longer be silent.
That's excellent. Thank you very much for that response. So we're going to pivot a little bit because you know exactly what we're here. Um, is all about Liberia, and the We Too movement actually is actually I would say a nonprofit organization that's focused on the mindset. And oftentimes, the problem that Liberia has, um, we say that the core problem has to do with politics, but we believe that the problem that Liberia has to do with the quality of persons that the country has produced over the years. So, I mean, just get in touch with you. I'm really excited that you were able to come to the forefront, that we can talk about Liberia's issue and your contributions to Liberia. So, with your work with Solid Foundation charity, I think is incredible, and it's focused on making a difference in the lives of Liberian women and children. Could you tell us more about the mission of the organization and why it's so important to you?
Absolutely. The mission of Solid Foundation Charity is so important to me because it focuses on the economics of depression. Solid Foundation began as a vacation for me to explore and experience the country of Liberia. And during this exploration period, I was asked to conduct presentations at schools and women's groups and at organizations. One was called MAML, and that addresses the needs of illegal migrants of Liberia who have returned. It became so important to me because during these presentations, the narratives of the women that I spoke to during the presentations, it touched my heart as they shared their experiences of poverty, of feelings of helplessness, loss of hope, and resorting to prostitution to feed and educate their children. They were being trafficked. Some were stranded in the desert and then were being exploited by those who found them for various reasons. And the list goes on and on and on. So after hearing their stories, I was able to identify ways to empower them because of my focus, and my desire became the mission, Solid Foundation's mission, helping them to understand the challenges that they were facing, why they were facing them, and being able to establish a sound mental health background for them so that they can come forward and speak and have the voice and share what they were actually going through.
Awesome. That's a power pack information that you just laid on me, and that'll take us to our next question here, Dr. Doris, as it relates to Solid Foundation Charity's mission, which is focused or has a focus on bridging the educational and poverty gap in Liberia, empowering women and children to live better lives through education and self empowerment. So now, and self sufficient, we can say. So, what are some of the key initiatives the charity is currently working on to make this vision come to reality?
I have a lot of quotes and saying, but the one I'm going to share that will lead into this question is: give a man to fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. This saying has been relevant in Solid Foundation's work with the women in Liberia. The ocean is one of Liberia's greatest natural resources. So when I asked some of the women during one of the presentations, they're called to a group called Women of Faith, and it's located in coastal Liberia. One of the women stand up to say and said, "We just want to Solid Foundation's key initiatives currently being executed are: number one, providing resources for the women in coastal Liberia to feed, educate, and support their children without selling their bodies. Because the men, fishermen, would go out and catch fish and come back to the shore, but in order to have some of that catch of the day, they would identify women that they would use for the day. And so they, of course, when you're in that type of situation and you want to feed your children, you want to educate them, you want to take care of your household, you can resort to behaviors that decrease your feelings of self-worth. So that's one of the initiatives that we are doing. And the resources that we provided included fishing boats, the engines that go with the fishing boats, the fishing nets for each season, and drying rooms for the seasonal catches. Because there's no refrigeration and you come in with boatloads of fish, you have to be able to, what you don't sell immediately, you have to be able to preserve. That's one initiative. The second initiative is providing educational materials and resources to 6 schools. We've done that to 6 schools so far, grades K to 12, that will expose the children to textbooks and digital learning. Here in America, Solid Foundations, we collect computers, books, games, art supplies, and other learning materials to aid in this exposure. And as you mentioned earlier, you want to be able to give the children quality education because those are the leaders of the future. Those are the people who are going to come forward. But without that infrastructure of having a sound mind and being exposed to education on a different level, it's going to be, we're going to see the continued cycle of what we've been seeing for Liberia. Liberia, and this is what we want to break. So we are collecting educational resources and computers, everything to increase digital learning. So last year in May, we shipped a container load of these educational resources and distributed them to 5 of the 6 schools that we sponsor. We also provide scholarships to some of the students in some of the schools. As a result of providing the resources for the fishing, the children are enrolled in schools and women are off the streets, which increases their self-esteem and feelings of self-worth.
Wow, that's really amazing. Just before I move on to the next question, I would like to say for our viewers, this is the We to All Liberians Movement platform. This is our guest, Dr. Doris, who is very passionate about working with, she's already working with individuals in Liberia, as you can hear, women empowerment, women and children empowerment. And so let's move right into our next question, which is empowering women and children, especially in underdeserved region, most time can be more, come with its own set of challenges. And the question that I want to ask now is, what have been some of the obstacles Solid Foundation has faced, and how have you been able to overcome those challenges?
Well, the major obstacle Solid Foundations is facing is financial. With increased financial support, we'll be able to develop the infrastructure we've started and take the initiatives to the next level of empowerment and self-sufficiency, because that's our goal, that's our passion, that's our mission, and that's our heart. We have not overcome this obstacle of financial restraints. But again, thank you, Charles, because this platform will increase awareness of our financial needs and ways Liberians in the diaspora and other African American brothers can rebuild communities in Liberia and thereby rebuilding the nation. Another obstacle is the lack of government support. We need the Liberian government to come on board, to partner with us. I apologize. I keep saying Nigeria because I lived in Nigeria for like 20 years. So
Right.
I'm there.
I was going to get to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we need the government to partner with us by donating or providing some buildings, or at least one nice building, so we could to house our mission. And we would use that mission place to train, to educate, to teach, and identify additional areas of concern that we can address together with the government and the women and children in Liberia.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I guess behind the scenes we talked today, and Frederick Douglass. Normally, I use a lot of quote on my show. Frederick Douglass once said, "It is much more easier to raise strong children than to repair broken men." So this is
Mhm.
truly an amazing job that you're doing. I want to extend to your commendation. Even as we move on to the next question. So now, my next question to you. I'm glad that you clarified that. Dr. Doris, actually, she lived in Nigeria for 20 years,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So there's no problem with that. Liberia is also a sister country to Nigeria. And what we want Liberia to be in power, so educating our people, empowering our people, cultivating them to be better citizens who are self-sufficient. It speaks to the core. So now it takes me to our next question. I'm glad that you came on again. It's truly inspiring what you just said, to see how Solid Foundation Charity has been making a difference. Now, you also emphasize the importance of education, entrepreneurship, and self empowerment. Could you speak more about the role of education in transforming lives, particularly for Liberian women and children?
Absolutely. The role of education in transforming lives, particularly for the Liberian women and children, are, and again, you like quotes, I love quotes, and I have a quote that goes along with this. And there's a famous quote that says, "The purpose of education is to turn mirrors into windows of opportunity." So
Wow.
education turns windows of opportunity into the purpose of education is to turn mirrors into windows of opportunity. So with increased access to education and training, women will be able to establish businesses, possibly beginning as a collective or a cooperative. And that way, it will enable each participant to utilize their unique talents and skills to join a group of like minded women who are seeking opportunities for employment, change, and self sufficiency. When women are educated, they can change the trajectory of their families, as well as increase positive mental and physical wellness. When children are educated, the sky is the limit. Children's minds, we classify them in the mental health field as a blank slate. So just like this mural behind it started off as a white wall, nothing was on it. But with your imagination, you can begin to create and you can have dreams for a better future and the role they will play in making their future better. So education is important because they go from being a blank slate to allowing information to pour in, the awareness, professional awareness, ideas, dreams, and visions, so that we can create a better nation.
Thank you very much. Robert Smith once, speaking at a commencement convocation at Morehouse College, he said, he asked the question, how many people are you going to put in your bus? You just don't want to ride a bus. You want to own it. You want to pick up as many people and take them to their destination. So we are happy that you are doing just that, empowering our people, educating our people, and we're going to pivot a little bit, but we'll continue on this path. Um, you actually, you're a graduate of the University of and
Happiness.
Akron, right?
Hmm.
Okay, and as a Georgia and Ohio licensed professional counselor supervisor with
Yes.
20 years of experience.
Yes.
Um, During your stay in Liberia, I strongly believe that there is this one. We have a demographic that's been referred to as Zogo and Zokis. What's your take on that? How can you, with a mental health background, other than this charity organization that you have, how do you think that charity foundation can make some kind of impact helping those individuals who have been referred to as they are drug addicts. Some have been reduced to destitutes, beggars, and things of that nature. What's your take on that?
That was something that we found on our last trip. It was more prevalent from the first trip to the second trip. And so what we have, with without going into too much detail, that's another initiative that we're working on. And that's why we need the government support in allowing and providing us, donating to us a facility where we can bring these people together to train them, to help them go through rehab and help give them that hope that they need to sustain a better life. So with mental health, that would start the process. But we have to bring them somewhere first. We have to get them off the streets. We have to start the rehab process. And then with the skills and the knowledge and the what I can bring as a licensed clinical professional, we'll be able to help the individuals get on their feet again. So taking the first thing is to get them off the streets and put them into a secure place. And like, I don't want to give too much away, but we have decided, go that route as well. And we are developing the plan for that.
Thank you very much. I know we talked about that also behind the scenes. You're not going to share everything here. And so that's awesome. But from time to time, we're going to bring you here. This is all about Liberia. We too are Liberians. As you know, we're going to get to that. Liberia was actually formed or was established by formerly enslaved Americans, African American slave, I would say, so to speak. But we will get to that. So my next question to you now, as someone deeply invested in personal and professional growth of individual, how does Solid Foundation Charity incorporate mental health? I think it's actually synonymous to what I just asked you, health and wellness into empowerment program.
Okay. Well, Solid Foundations incorporates mental health and wellness into their empowerment programs through providing psychoeducation on the manifestation of mood disorders such as depression. We also conduct presentations on the effects of anxiety disorders. We conduct presentations on the effects of post-traumatic stress. And, Liberia had been into a civil war for decades. And what we're seeing now is the remnants of the war in the minds of the people. That's what I label post-traumatic stress. They've been through a trauma for decades. And I'm teaching them and helping them to understand what it looks like, what it feels like, and how it presents on a daily basis. Solid Foundation will incorporate mental health and wellness education on identifying and learning and developing coping skills and strategies to reduce and hopefully eliminate challenges that suppress emotional growth, to increase hope, increase the feelings of self-worth, increase self-esteem, and increase the sense of calm. And, when we're working with the mental aspect of it, it affects your physical because your mind affects your body. So when you're able to help the mind calm down and see differently, hypertension can reduce. All of those other symptoms that come along with the mental ailments that manifest as physical ailments often. So it will increase positive mental health, and that will increase the desire to succeed. It will increase motivation. Dreams will return, and empowerment begins. Because years ago, when these people that we have now in Liberia, the 8 groups that we have now, when they were born, they didn't come out and say, "Oh, this is what I'm going to be. This is what they had dreams."
Yes.
So we want to help them return to dreaming. And once you can have a dream and a vision, and we can come together and write it down and make it plain,
Amen.
we'll be able to be empowered. So my vision is to open a center for women, children, and girls focused on empowerment through mental health, wellness, and advocacy initiatives.
This is awesome. Thank you very much for your initiative. And I think that was self-explanatory. We got it. I'm going to run right into our next question. We're approximately 30 minutes into the program. We want to do at least 45 minutes to an hour. So we'll go right into our next question here. The work of Solid Foundation Charity relies heavily on resources available to make a real impact. Now, how can people from Liberia or the Liberian community, both here and abroad, get involved or contribute to your mission?
Well, I'm going to just back up a little and then I'll continue with that. From my professional experience in mental health, I've embodied who I am as a person. I have learned to be who I am and who I was called to be. Everyone has a talent or a skill to bring to the table. So, as a leader of my Solid Foundations team, I have helped them to identify their strengths and not focus on what may go wrong or what I can't do. So my professional experience has trained me to turn negative mindsets, and I'll call that cognitive restructuring how you think into a positive mindset.
Right.
All those I can't, I don't know how, I can't will turn into I can and I will. I use several scriptures to guide my life, both professionally and personally. And one of them is, as a man thinketh, so he is.
Yes.
So I focus on my God given talents to bring in of being an effective communicator, an empathetic listener, slow to speak, and quick to hear the meaning behind the words being spoken by everyone I encounter. My professional experiences have taught me to think positively, feel empathetically, act intentionally as a leader, and in my service with Solid Foundations. So, organizing the team, bringing the team together, now we can go out and try and put the people in America, the African Americans, with the Liberians. So the people from Liberian community, both here and abroad, can get involved with Solid Foundations or contribute to Solid Foundations' mission by understanding the economics of oppression that I mentioned earlier. We as a people are so intelligent, we're talented and gifted, but we've been brainwashed by colonization that we no longer believe in ourselves and the power we possess within. So, individuals, organizations, and corporations, both here and abroad, can partner with Solid Foundations to develop infrastructure to build a solid foundation for children and upcoming generations through quality education, through building confidence in the women, and also just by being available to support the initiatives that we come or that we continue to go through understanding forms of oppression that prevent them from being strong leaders in their families and communities. Solid Foundation's goal is to empower the women who will empower their children. I keep going back to that
That's
because
it.
once you
That's
have
it.
a strong woman, you have a strong family, you have
Yeah.
strong children who will empower the community in turn, which will empower the counties in Liberia, which will empower the nation as a whole.
Wow. That's really amazing. That was power packed. You said it all, and thank you very much for what you're doing. We're going to run right into our next question, but just before we do that, if you're tuning, you're watching the We to Our Libraries Movement platform. You know what the platform is. Just like you said, it's about mindset. We are not, Dr. Doris. We say we're not in the business of manufacturing or producing players, pimps, and hustlers. Rather, we're in the business of changing, revolutionizing the thought process of our people, not only in Liberia but even around the world. So, our topic for tonight: a conversation with Dr. Doris, empowering Liberia's women and children towards what? Self-sufficiency. So then, looking ahead, Dr. Doris, what are your goals for the future of Solid Foundation Charity? One, two, are there any exciting upcoming projects or initiatives that we should be keeping an eye on?
Yes. Our goals, or my goals for the future of Solid Foundation, are manifold. We envision having enough resources, both financial and human resources, to partner with us to develop and expand our current initiatives throughout coastal Liberia. Solid Foundations would like to host fundraising events in large cities that have a strong, united Liberian community presence. Those in the diaspora must become intensely involved with the African American brothers to begin the rebuilding of a once powerful, courageous nation. So keep your eye out for events and ways to partner with Solid Foundations to raise awareness and to raise funds to support the initiatives we have already put in place.
This is incredible. Thank you again. So we're going to try to pivot because you talked about diaspora and Liberian, and then you also talk about Liberians locally. Um, Liberia is the only country, like I said, that was never colonized. She was formed or established by individuals. I like that narrative, who suffered 400 years of immense torture, agony, pain, humiliation, degradation. The list goes on and on and on. So, with that being said, we're going to pivot a little bit, but I want to take this time again to thank you very much for joining us tonight and sharing incredible insight on the importance of empowerment and education. You know, educating. Now, you have a point of focus that's the children as well as women. But
Yes.
now, as we've discussed today, the ties between Black Americans and Liberia runs very deep. It's clear that rebuilding Liberia and moving it towards a brighter future, you know, is a shared responsibility. So now one that requires unity, collaboration, and a mutual respect between both indigenous Liberian and Black American. Together we can create a lasting, you know, change, empower communities, and honor the legacy of those who fought for freedom and opportunity. So now, I have a few questions for you, Dr. Doris. Liberia, like I said, was founded by free Black Americans in the early 19th century. Yet today, many of us in Black America may not fully understand the deep historical connection between, you know, our communities. From your perspective, I want to ask you now, why is it crucial for Black Americans to reconnect with Liberia and actively contribute to its growth and development?
It is so important because African Americans, we've been exposed to a lot of the things that some of those in Liberia have not been exposed to. So we need them to partner with us to go over and explore the country like I did, to gain a better understanding and experience of what you can do to make things better. So the importance of supporting the Liberian women and children can never be overemphasized. Women are the backbones of every culture. Identifying ways to assist them in becoming the best version of themselves will transform the nation. And with a collaborative or a collective of African Americans and the Liberians anywhere in the world, if we can come together and be on the same accord and same mind and create the same vision. We don't all have the same talents or the same skills, but we can all have the same desire to see things improve, to go to the next level, so that we can hold our heads up high at all times and say, I am a part of, like, we too are Liberia.
Yes, I like that. I like that. That's excellent. Then I have a couple more questions for you. Let's get into this one. Given Liberia's unique history as a nation established by, we'll repeat it, formerly enslaved Black people, how do you see the role of Black America in the ongoing efforts to rebuild and empower Liberia's people? I'll say it that way. Well, that's one question. The next question, what can they bring to the table? Now, The reason why I'm asking this, Ghana, we know the history of the transatlantic slave trade, the abolition of slave trade or slavery, what led to the formation of Liberia, how blacks were formerly enslaved people were growing in numbers, and the fear by leaders of America that these black people would come back to probably do to them what they did to them. So now, what can they bring? Knowing all of what I just said, like I said, this is the country that was formed by people who have suffered 400 years of immense torture, pain, things of that nature. So what can they bring to the table in terms of skills, resources, and share experience?
That's a great question. What they can bring is exactly what I'm bringing. Bring yourself. See a need, fulfill a need. Bring your skills, bring your talents. And it's not about money. It's not about what I can do for myself. It's not about anything on a personal level except the ability to give. So that's what African Americans can bring. That's what Black Americans can bring. Their talents, their natural resources, their ability to help organize thought processing, their ability to help train, their ability to use the skills and talents. So if they're coming in as in the medical field, come in. Donate your time, donate your effort, donate your energies. If you're coming in from a businessman's perspective, a business person's perspective, that's what your talent and skill is, bring it in. Join me and my team as we develop business plans to help the people come up with ideas for self-sufficiency. Bring your skills and your talents. Help us grow. Partner with Solid Foundations. We have a place for you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I'm going to ask you another question. To me, that to some extent people think is a little bit sensitive, and this has to do with this strained relationship between maybe Black American and the indigenous. So it's often said that the relationship between indigenous Liberians and Black Americans can sometimes be strained. So why is it essential for both communities to see rebuilding or the rebuilding of Liberia as a shared responsibility? I think I asked that already. And how can solidarity between the two groups help to overcome past challenges?
It all begins with awareness. That strained relationship is there because of the lack of awareness. We haven't come to the same table. We haven't come to the same environment and to sit down and have a discussion about how you feel about me, how I feel about you. Because like I said, that's from colonization. All of the ideas that we have right now were not placed in our heads on our own, working with each other. So we've been trained to separate. It's called divide and conquer. So if you keep us separate, how can we bring in our talents and our gifts and our skills to build the nation, to support each other, to trust each other? And when I did the presentation in Robertsport, Liberia, that's how I started. You have to trust each other first.
Yes.
You have to come to the table and be able to share what your concerns are. I'm afraid of you because, oh, I understand. I'm like you because. And that's how you begin to have a dialogue. Have that dialogue that will break down those barriers of miscommunication that have been instilled in us over decades. We're not better than the other person. And until we understand that we're one. Until we can honestly understand that and come to the truth and understanding and the awareness that we are here to help support each other. I wrote a small book called My Jewels, and it's just about what we're talking about now. Instead of pushing people away because you think they're different or you're better than or they're less than, bring them in, make them a part of your community, make them a part of your family.
Right.
And together you grow through that strength.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's the message we have to propagate. And I'm glad that you Malcolm X once said we can not only talk the talk, but we got to walk the walk. And I'm glad that you guys are
Yes.
doing it. And I think we have a greater mandate. And that mandate that's lauded to us is to ensure that we unite ourselves to build Liberia, make Liberia a better place. Because I'm not taking anything away from Ghana, but what is happening in Ghana now, should be happening in Liberia at a very larger scale. And we're pleased that it's happening in Ghana, but we want to make sure that we are connecting. I give you a classic example. When I came to this country right after high school, and I didn't really have an opportunity of going to high school here, but I know there were times where Black American children, African American kids, and indigenous, we came as refugees, we have these rifts. So what? Now this is off the record. How can we? What do you think we can do as a people to strengthen that relationship, to educate our? How do we reach out? So because I know there are people that I've met who don't even know nothing about Liberia. What
Right.
is charity foundation, solid foundation charity doing in that respect to bridge the gap?
Oh, we're trying in our community. Like I live in Georgia, and then we have some of our other board members, some in Texas, some in Ohio, some in PA, Philadelphia. And what we do to help bridge that gap is, like I said, go to out into the community. Like I speak at churches about the benefit of partnering with Liberia, and letting them know that we are united, and seeing all the positive things about the motherland instead of the negative things. Like next month in March, I'm doing another conference. I'm a keynote speaker at a conference for the same purpose, bringing awareness and education into the value of Africa, West Africa. I speak for Liberia, and like
Right.
for Liberia in particular. So it's through awareness and education and being intentional about and willing to hold conferences, to hold events where you have the opportunity to speak. And the more you speak in schools, absolutely as well. So the more you speak and educate, you bring on a light bulb in the minds of individuals who had never considered Africa and Liberia to be anything more than what they saw on television 50 years ago. We are not that. And until we continue to educate them and teach them and bring awareness, it can remain like that. So that's how we can end those rifts between who we are.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's really big. So now again, I want to ask you a question. You kept saying Robert Sport. Where in particular in Liberia are you doing your work?
Robertsport is one. Magabe County is another. Marshallville is another. And we've also worked in Monrovia.
All right. So now I want to ask you a question because the We Too Are Liberians movement, like I said, is about diaspora and also those in the diaspora and those in Liberia. We want to make sure we bridge this gap, make this country a better place, as comfortable when it comes to our educational system. We want quality education, not just education. We
Mhm.
want better roads, I mean, our infrastructure. We want affordable buildings. We want better life. So my question to you, what conversation are you having beyond just the Solid Foundation charity group? Are you having other meaningful dialogues to encourage other Black Americans to go back to Liberia and check out the motherland?
The conversations I am having is like what you said, teaching the circle there where I reside. I'm encouraging the professionals to follow me on my next trip so that they can see what they can do.
Right.
So that's where my strength is, and that's what I'm trying to do to get Black Americans involved and to help reduce the barriers that we have between us.
Thank you
I'm not
very
sure
much.
if I answered your question.
You did. Because I don't want to sound redundant, because a lot of questions that I'm asking now, pretty much your responses are intertwined with some of the questions that I asked you, and your responses were clear. So that's good enough. Let's get to maybe a last question, and then I'll ask you if you have any word of encouragement out there to African Americans and also to Liberians. My question now to you, looking forward, what kind of collaboration do you envision between Black America? One thing before I get to that question, if you think about the transatlantic slave trade, because I was talking to another, he's a contributor behind the scenes. We talk about the transatlantic slave trade. We talk about formerly enslaved people, descendants of slave. Um, I say again, I'll go back to the narrative that says that this is a country that was formed by individuals who suffered 400 years. Liberia was never recognized as a country after she gained her independence by the great United States of America. From 1822, the country was founded. 1847, she gained her independence, and then 1862, United States then recognized Liberia as a country. So where Liberia is, this is a country that was actually formed by individuals who was not, we can say, were not even prepared. They had to use their own resources. And looking at Liberia, where do you stay when you go there? Because the question that I've been asked by other African Americans, how safe is this place? Do they have running water? So what can we do to encourage these people? I also heard you talking about the government. Can the government help? So what has been the government relationship with Solid Foundation? Have you had an opportunity of engaging? I don't know if I'm going all over the place, but you can answer some of the questions that I'm posting here. What have been your relationship with other Black Americans here and government in Liberia? How were they receptive to the initiatives?
Well, number one, yes, for Liberia is safe. I was able to travel from one end of the country to the other, all the way up to the borders, without any threats. The roads aren't always great, but it's safe. I feel safe there all the time. There is running water. There is often electricity. And where we stay, we've been able to locate an Airbnb that has a generator. So we can use generator for the electricity part. And then we shop in the market with everybody else, the open markets, which is always a joy and a pleasure for me. And the government the government can help by providing a structure that we can use for our educational pieces, our mental health pieces, our rehab pieces, and also a place where I can bring in the human resources, the African American human resources, to come and spend like a week, or not a week. We don't do weeks, a month or 2 weeks 3 weeks at a time, so that they can work with the people that we're trying to serve. So that's how the government can come in. I have had the opportunity to meet with a few government officials. We've been to the World Health Organization. We did a presentation there and got to meet the people there. We've been to a few government offices, talking to representatives and senators. So they are on board. So we just have to continue to show them that we're not just in and out, that we are a part, and we want to become a major part of changing the outlook for Liberia.
Thank you very much for that response. Dr. Doris, this is amazing, and I think I'm actually out of words. You said it all. You reinforced it. The country's safe to an extent. So we want to encourage other African Americans or Black America to come.
Yes.
That's a topic that we're going to be talking about here in the foreseeable future. Within the next couple of weeks, we have a topic titled "Black America, Please Come and reestablish or to rebuild what you formed," because that part of Africa, West Africa, was not Liberia until the settlers went there. So we want to reinforce that, and that's our goal and objective. In order to do that, we'll have to build, just like you said, a structure that will be as comparable to what we have here.
Mm-hmm.
So then people will feel a little bit safer to go there. To begin, the reason why Black Americans or African Americans are going to Ghana, we'll go to Rwanda, we'll go to other African countries around, because you want to go to somewhere that is a little bit safer, is receptive. Liberians people are very receptive people.
They're very
Yeah,
receptive.
very receptive people. Now, as we conclude, what's your favorite Liberian dish?
Cassava leaf soup.
Yes.
Yes, cassava leaf.
Can you
And
cook? Can you
bitter
cook
ball.
it?
Yes, I'm learning. I'm learning to cook it. Yes. It's
Okay.
not much different from the traditional foods I prepared before. It's just that the leaves are different.
Okay.
But bitter ball soup, I don't know how to cook that one, but I like it.
You like it. You like it. So now, it's just what I'm gonna do is, just before your last word, I'll put the number out here. We'll see if anyone who's watching, if you have any question for to participate on the show, we have our number out here. Our numbers. We got 484. I didn't show any pictures today for some reason, proprietary reason. We decided we're gonna keep it private. Dr. Doris. I know we talk about that. What I like to do here, some of your work that you're doing there. I'm going to use that background for now. I don't know if it's possible to show that, or I'm just not going to do it at all.
It
We'll
would
save
allow
it
me
for,
to talk about it.
yeah, we'll talk about it at a later date. So, yes, numbers out there. For those of you who are watching, my number is there, 484-318-5668. Dr. Doris's number is 330-396-1917. We have the website, https that whatever solid foundation
USA.org.
usa.org.
Yes.
So check us out, or check her out. We're one family. We're really just gratified to have you here, and thank you for what you're doing, and continue the great work. You know, an education that you cannot take from theory and bring into practice is useless. So to have
Exactly.
your education, the teaching, you're cultivating people, you're educating, empowering these people. I think it just speaks to the core of who you are. I think Jiba is calling. Um, yes, brother Jiba.
Yeah, was calling into the show to ask a question.
Dr. Burris, can you hear? We got a call from Jiba. He has a question for you. Is the
I can hear
audio
you.
loud
Yes.
enough? Or she can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes.
All right, so I just want to say thank you very much for the work that you do for our people, and look forward to supporting the work that you do. One thing I wanted to find out, if people want to contribute towards solid foundation in terms of financial or other resources, material resources, because I did, learn that, you guys send books, computers, supplies and stuff. How
Yes.
can one be able to send donation, would it be a financial donation or material donations? Thank you.
Okay, we have 3 locations where you can donate books and computers and solid items. One is in Rincon, Georgia. The other one is in Media, Pennsylvania, and the other one is in Akron, Ohio. So no matter where you're listening or you're located, we can just call us and we will make sure that the items that you want to donate will get to a place where we can collect them. For the financial aspect, if you go on our website, we have a PayPal account and you can donate from there. It'd be much appreciated.
Thank you for that. We will entertain another question if there's any question. If not, Dr. Darsh, again, we want to thank you. What would be your last word? Thank you again for joining us today and sharing the incredible insight and importance of empowering Liberian women and children through education, we say self-empowerment and self-sufficiency. We are happy that your work with Salad Foundation is truly inspiring, and is a reminder of, the power that we all have
Yes.
to make a difference, whether here in Black America or back home in Liberia. And so, as we discussed today, the ties between Black America, like I said before, and Liberia, runs deep. And also to our listeners, just before we close, this is like Dr. Doris. Again, she's just say a little bit about yourself, and then your last word just before I can close the show.
Okay. Again, my name is Dr. Doris Strempek. I am based in Georgia, outside of Savannah. I'm an educator. I'm a supervisor. I'm a professor. I'm a child of God. I'm a clinician. And I'm president of Solid Foundation's Charities, which was founded to live the mission and the passion that I have for my heart, which is helping others. And I really want everyone that's listening to find a way that you can join us to help the foundation grow, to continue to empower and encourage and support women and children in Liberia. Again, we take financial donations, we take in-kind donations, we gather books. And if you are aware, I don't know if I can say this, but if you're aware of a shipping company that is willing to help us as a 501(c) company to ship our next container load of goods out, it would be so appreciative. I found that giving is expensive because right now everything we do is coming out of our personal pockets. But we want to do so much more. That's why we need the Liberian government to partner with us. That's why we need you to partner with us, because there's so much work to be done. And let's do it. Let's do it together, please.
Again, thank you very much, Dr. Doris, and to our listeners. We want to encourage you to continue thinking critically about the role we all play in Liberia's progress. Whether you are here in the U.S. Or abroad, every contribution, no matter how small, has the potential to catalyze change. So thank you for tuning in tonight. This is the We Too Are Liberians movement, podcast. I'm your host, C.H. Williams, urging you to keep challenging the status quo. I engage to engage in meaningful dialogue and to take actions. Let's keep the revolution of thought alive. Until next time, this is the We Too Are Liberians movement. Have a good night, and I look forward to talking to you again, Dr. Doris.
Looking forward to it. Good night, everyone, and thanks for watching.
Yes, and we say we too are what? Liberians.
Liberians.
Okay.
Here we go.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Simple life. It's all we want to live. Give me food, give me clothes, give me love, and give me shelter. Simple.